Hey guys, what's up? I've got some low-level invasions for you. I know lately I've been doing a lot of the Spear of the Church invasion videos, and I'm already aware that for a lot of folks it's not really their favorite, and I got some specific feedback asking me to do something different. So I thought I'd go and do some low-level invasions. I'm actually going to be trying to do something even a little bit more different coming up. Part of the challenge is my builds right now are all sort of concentrated either at soul level 36 or 90 or beyond. And so it kind of limits where I can effectively invade, but I aim to change that soon. So here, one of the things that's always on my mind is the risk of a plunging attack. And sure enough, this Phantom goes for it, but does not think to put the cat ring on first. With my shield out, if he had landed on me, it would have almost certainly broken my guard, but would have kept him from killing me outright. So I'm not really sure what this host is trying to do here. Solo host, I'll usually try to give him a warning of some kind. So here I hit him once and try to make sure I've got his attention. As soon as I see the R2, I immediately think, and then the two-handed weapon art, that this guy has some idea what he's doing. When I keep seeing the charged R2s, I'm assuming that it's some sort of parry bait. So you see me consistently running up to him, kind of circling around, waiting for the parry attempt. He's doing the delayed R1s. This guy definitely has an idea of what he's doing. Doesn't hit out a stun. So here I get an interesting piece of information. That is that he does not wait for me to roll to throw out the R2. And I actually gave him a piece of information, which is that I'm not going to panic, excuse me, I'm not going to panic roll when he throws that R2 out there. So I just kind of file that away for later. As soon as his hand comes back for the R2, I know that I'm going to be able to get the parry. You know, too many people, they don't wait for the roll to punish the roll. They just reflexively go for that R2. And in fact, I lost a fight doing exactly the same thing, which is why I generally will hold that in, especially if they've got a parry shield. You used to never ever see people parry that R2 in the R1, R1, R2 combo. Nowadays, I see it a lot more than I used to. And I don't know if that's because just people in general have learned to do that, or if it's just kind of a selection effect where a lot of people, the only people left playing the game now are the tryhards. I run across a surprising number of like pyros and mages at lower level. As you're probably already aware, these kinds of builds really have a tough time at low levels. In fact, if I were going to build a pyro or a mage, I would probably start off with a melee character, and then maybe later respec it. Even most of the pyros, they'll generally have some sort of weapon as a backup. And this guy had plenty of warning that I was coming. He could have easily switched if he had something, which makes me think maybe he doesn't have anything. And here he finally realizes that he needs to not lock on to me when he's throwing pyros. So now he's doing a much better job. And it's making it a lot harder for me to pressure him. And I did not know that those pyro hands actually had a melee attack. Not a very powerful one, evidently, but it still has one. Now he's going for the hail parries, which, you know, I guess I don't really blame him. He doesn't really have much other, he doesn't have many other options at this point. And I give him a bit of the business about it, but in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have. I mean, he's just trying to make the best of a bad situation. You know, one of the cool things about invading here are these crows, because these crows are a guarantee that nobody's been through an area before. So if you go by there and the crows fly away, you know that you're the first person to come through there, and they trip on, you know, invaders, phantoms, hosts, whomever. It's really, really useful to know. And they're in a number of places around the level, but that's the one that I'm most familiar with. And of course, here I'm trying to make sure that nobody's setting up on me. You probably can't hear it in the mix, but I just heard the elevator go up. So what I like to do in this situation is wait just about 5 to 10 seconds before I pull the lever, because if I pull the lever immediately when they get off, they know I'm right behind them, and they may wait and gank me when I come up. And then I also like to wait here a second, because sometimes what will happen is if you get on the elevator and you don't hit the button and they're waiting for you, they'll pull the elevator up themselves, thinking that they're going to pull it out of your way, and they're not expecting you to actually be on the elevator when it comes up, and you can kind of get a surprise attack. Another thing hosts like to do here is wait, and if they're a faith build, they'll try to use force and knock you off the ledge. It's another thing you need to be really wary of right here. And I can hear that they just killed the guy up above that drops the, I forget what it's called, like the deep ring or whatever, the one that gives you the extra attunement slot. And right now my priority is to kind of get ahead of the party, so I'm not really trying to fight them so much as just ensure that they're not going to hit me when I get past them. Here I see the Phantom come in with a running attack, and I see he's going to come up short, and that's what a lot of dueling has done for me, to be able to get a read on those kinds of running attacks. And they're off to the right. Some sort of Phantom just fell off the ledge, and these laggy sorceries are really frustrating. But when a running attack like that comes up short, it takes a lot of practice to be able to spot that it's going to come up short and to be able to just outspace it and punish it. Similarly here, I'm trying to outspace his R1 so I can come up kind of in between and punish him. And there he makes a relatively common mistake in this area, rolling off the ledge. I have no idea what happened to the other Phantom. I think I referenced this in one of my earlier videos, but because From tightened up the weapon matching levels, this guy at soul level 36 with +4 weaponry, he can only match from +3 to +5, which really limits me in where I can go right now. So Cathedral the Deep is pretty much the only invasion location for this build. So right now what I'm trying to do is get this guy to heal up. I don't know if he realizes how low his health is. Especially with just a solo host, I spend so much time invading here and just beating up solo hosts that have no idea what they're doing, and it's not fun, it's not challenging, and so the last thing I want to do is just pile on this guy when he has no health. And now I'm realizing that maybe this guy's out of Estus, so I decide to give him one of my Seek Brows. I wasn't sure if he knew exactly what I was intending for him to do, but he did. He went right into his inventory and was able to heal up, which is awesome. I was thinking it would be useful to have some sort of way of measuring the skill of somebody in PvP, so that you could kind of just very quickly bucket people and talk about how experienced or how good they are. And I started thinking about it. If I went on like kind of the traditional scale, where if it went E at the lowest end up through S scaling to mean like the very best. So like your average host here, you'd probably put in an E. That guy was probably like a D. I would put myself at probably like a B or a B+. And then a lot of the other guys that hang out in St. Riot stream, I would also put in that same sort of area, except maybe Sir Grey Fox, I might put it in A. And then probably guys like the tournament players, the Scott Yuns, those types I would call an S. This guy's like an E minus, unfortunately. He's fat rolling. He's got a big shield out. And I actually spent about 5 minutes hunting this guy down. So he had plenty of time to make adjustments to his build if that's what he was inclined to do. And here I decide I'm going to cut the guy a break and not attack him and let him heal up. And the thralls get him with the fire bombs. I get so tunnel vision, and I just go after people, and then I have to stop and realize, like, hey, this guy really doesn't know what he's doing. He's a solo host. Me just blasting him completely when he's fat rolling, it doesn't do anything for me, for sure, and it doesn't help him get any better or feel like that was a worthwhile experience. So these guys kind of stopped in a good location. They had this little area cleared out. They're in a good spot to fight me, which means I'm absolutely not going to fight them right there. They really should not be chasing me over here, though. Like, this is absolutely the worst area for them to fight me. There's like 4 thralls. There's the big halberd wielder dude. Here we come out of stun at the same time. I sometimes have trouble, though, with the great swords one-handed, getting the out-of-stun parries. The timing on those can sometimes be a little tricky. Like right here, I tried on this guy. Right idea, but I was just a little too early, and I don't know if that's just because he delayed it a little bit or if my timing was just bad. But even like those 2 guys with the PvE, it's really not much of a challenge, and not because I'm some awesome PvP player, but these guys are really just inexperienced. And like anything else, you pick up little things over time, and you get marginally better day by day, which over the course of a year or so playing this game creates a pretty big gulf between you and somebody who's new to the PvP. So as soon as I spawn in here, I see there's a dark spirit that died. So they're obviously using dried fingers, which means either they're ganking or they've got a very large party that they're trying to take through the level. So I'm trying to kind of stay a step ahead of them and try to figure out where I want to try to fight them. This area is actually pretty good because the choke points make it difficult for them to surround you. I heard the other invader spawn in, so I know he's nearby, so I decide that now is the time to engage these guys. There, I inadvertently locked onto the purple as I was trying to throw that bomb. Thank God I was able to aim away from him. I see the host. I lock onto him, and I know I'm going to trade with that fireball, but I figure it's worth it because maybe I'll kill him. I don't kill him, so he's able to back off and heal, so now I'm kind of back at square one. Then I lock onto him, and I realize he didn't heal. So I'm not sure if he was out of Estus. Maybe they had been trying to get through this area a bunch of times and they kept getting invaded and he kept running out of Estus. I'm not sure. So as soon as I invade here, I see the Grave Warden running up the stairs as if she's chasing somebody. So I come up here expecting to find the host. And I see signs that somebody's obviously been through here. One of those enemies is typically seated until you come through here. And then the Whiffed Undead Hunter Charm tells me that the party is like right in front of me. And sure enough, there's a single host who's making a run for it. And I decide to trade some damage here to shortcut it. because my expectation at this point is that this player is probably not very good if they're unwilling to kind of face me head on and they're just going to run for it instead. They seem to be somewhat intelligently rolling and healing. I see the doors are open already, so I'm not really sure what's going on with this player. I don't know if they died in a previous run after they got the doors open, but before they got the shortcut open, which would be kind of odd because it's not very far from here. Now I'm getting the sense that maybe this player actually is skilled. And right here they do something very interesting. They did a backstep, and I'm not sure if their intent was to try to backstep behind me and backstab me. So I'm not really sure what was going on there. I know I've mentioned this in some of my other low-level invasion videos, but if you're new to invading, or maybe you've tried it and you just didn't have a lot of luck and you got frustrated, really strongly advise you to create a character like Soul Level 36. Take it all the way through the game so that you have all the bone shards, all the Estus flasks, and you'll have a much, much easier time of it here. I'm looking for the host. I come running through here, and something catches my eye, and I see the box, and I realize that box doesn't belong here. But rather than try to hit the host a bunch of times, I figure if they're hiding, they're probably nervous about PvP, so I'll kind of just, you know, I'll just kind of announce my presence. You know, this is another example where I should probably be taking it easier on this host. But instead I'm just putting them under tons of pressure and they just roll off the side. And that's frustrating to me in retrospect because that means that they felt the situation was completely hopeless and I was the cause of that hopelessness. I mean, I don't feel badly about killing them. I don't feel badly about engaging them in PvP. I just wish I had kind of given them more of an opportunity. Hey guys, and so this last invasion here is quite a long one, and I deliberately put this one at the very end. And you see, obviously, they surprised me here, but just to let you know, this goes on for a good 6 or 7 minutes. So if you find yourself getting bored, you won't be missing anything other than this last invasion. And I kept it in because it's very representative of a type of invasion that I experience here, and that is you get a host and his phantom that may not be very skilled, but they are very good at sticking together with one another. And the problem is when you've got two people that stay right on top of each other, and they're both using really fast weapons, it can be difficult to attack one of them safely without the others attacking you. And at this point, I'm not sure if the guy's trying to do a katana parry or if maybe he just doesn't understand how the weapon art works on those weapons. Because the weapon art on those weapons is somewhat unusual in the sense that, you know, pressing L2 is only the first step. You then, in conjunction, have to press R1 or R2. And if you've been playing the game for a long time, it seems pretty obvious. But with some of these weapons like that, it took me a while to realize how the weapon art even worked. But when you're playing against a group like this, you know, these guys are both doing things that are very parryable. And so normally that would be my approach, but because they're right on top of each other with fast weapons, if I parry one of them, chances are pretty good that the other one is just going to hit me and I won't be able to take the riposte. So, and plus then they'll just be more cagey in the future, and it'll be that much harder to get a riposte. And at this level, I certainly won't be one-hit KOing them. They both have too much vigor for that. But now, obviously, the Phantom here is bound and determined to get a katana parry on me. Just not going about it in a very effective way. And, you know, normally my approach would be to do what I just did and get a backstab, but they're just putting too much pressure on me. Can't hit either of them without just getting whacked about by the other one. Charged R2 is actually a nice move. It's right about this point where I started to get worried that I may actually not win this invasion, because they just keep chipping away at my health. And you know, if anyone out there is unaccustomed to PvP in this game, you'll let this invasion be a lesson. Swing your weapon. Be aggressive. Especially when there's two of you. It makes it really, really hard on the invader. Stay together and be aggressive. That Phantom had actually been swinging instead of trying to get a katana parry. They might have actually been able to kill me right there. One problem with fighting in this area is that the camera angles can be awful, but there's really no better place for me to take them right now. If I were to go inside the church itself, they would be able to surround me. I was able to breathe a big sigh of relief once I killed that Phantom. And so now my primary goal is just in making sure that this guy doesn't resummon. And here the aggression that he's shown and has worked so well for him is now working against him because he's by himself. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot for checking in. Have a great day.